Hello everybody, this is Sandy and I'm here with another one of our Heart of Hollywood media interview segments, and I'm really happy because today we have a very special guest who's a filmmaker, he's an actor, he's an author, he's an inspirational speaker, and his name is Brian Benson. Hi Brian.
Hi, Sandy.
Lovely to see you here.
Thank you.
Well, Brian, now that I have you here, I would like for you to tell us a little bit about this new project of yours, Sangre Negra, which is a new project featuring yourself, Eric Estrada, Eric Roberts, and a number of other major A-listers. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Yeah, I have a small recurring part, and I play a sports reporter who kind of has a penchant for unsavory things that gets me into trouble with one of the crime families.
Oh my goodness, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil what I yeah, but it's kind of a cross between The Sopranos and Dallas. It's yeah.
Interesting. Interesting that you mentioned that you will be a sports reporter, because I also know that you're an athlete. You've done many Ironmans. I understand that you traveled the USA on your bike.
Yep.
Please tell me a little bit about that.
I feel like I've had a lot of different lifetimes. The bike ride across the U.S. was about 20 years ago, but it was just a magical experience.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I went from Seattle to Washington, D.C.
Was there a specific reason? Were you going to visit somebody, or was it just for the pleasure of covering, you know, this huge distance? Or?
Yeah, well, I'd always wanted to do it, and it just kind of magically manifested. It was a fundraiser for a project called Bike Aid, and the money that we raised, we got to vote on at the end of the trip where we went and donated the money to. So it was, you know, to a whole bunch of sustainable projects that kind of covered the gamut of, yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. I know that you're also very popular as an inspirational speaker. And I do remember a TED Talk that you gave that was titled, Be Yourself to Free Yourself?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that talk and how that came to be?
Sure. I did that a couple of years ago, and it was called Be Yourself to Free Yourself, Finding Your Personal Freedom. And basically, I shared my journey of the last 8 years. 8 years ago, I left my family business into the unknown. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I'd never written before, I'd never acted before, but one thing kind of happened after another, and I just followed my intuition. So the talk, I basically shared my journey, and I wove it through 5 points that I learned and utilized.
Let me tell you, I get the feeling that you're a person that really taps into his intuition a lot. And I was wondering, maybe that is something that our friends out there that want to start working in the entertainment industry should be doing. What advice would you give for those people?
Well, what I've found is basically, I've been one that's always kind of tried to work on being the best version of myself, and so I've done a lot of self-growth work, and all the projects that I think that have manifested, I think have been just kind of an extension of that. But to answer your question, I think, you know, a lot of people get into this business for probably a lot of different reasons, and I think that you want to make sure that the reasons are authentic and heartfelt. You know what I mean?
Like a calling, perhaps?
A calling, yes. And you know, just whenever I have a decision to make, I run it through my heart filter. And if it's a definite yes, I mean, all the books that I've written and the short films that I did, I felt like they had to come out of me, and so I just kind of moved in that direction, even though I'd never really done it before. I just made it happen. The right people came in, and just magic happened.
Well, that's exciting. Now, tell me a little bit about these books.
Yeah.
I know that you are an author.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the numerous things that you have been working on.
Sure. Brian's List was the very first book that I wrote, and that was in 2009, right after I left my family business. And it probably was a thing that kind of pointed me in the direction that I've headed. I just sat down one day because I was out of balance, and I wrote down 5 things that I knew that would help me, studied them, it worked, my intuition said expand the list. I wrote this book unexpectedly, and I was terrified to speak in front of people. So I began the process. I'm sure you never experienced that, but I just started the process of overcoming that. I did community college speech classes. I did Toastmasters for a while. I created my own interactive workshop. Just I even took an acting class. That's how I kind of started getting in that realm. But so this was the thing that started everything off for me.
That's amazing. And I know it is an award-winning book as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
great.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And Finding Your Voice was about 4 years ago, and it's just a compilation of blogs and stories and quotes and poems and, everything that I kind of worked on for myself to help me find my true voice, because I've had to work on it as well.
Okay, I find it very exciting what you were talking about, not being comfortable in front of audiences, because I mean, you really did a 180 right there. I mean, it's
I've worked very hard at it.
Well, I can imagine, because really now you're comfortable in front of huge crowds and the TED Talk, and I mean, it's a turnaround right there.
It's getting easier.
Now, what about this other book that we have here?
Steve the Alien is a children's book that I wrote last year. And I'm proud of it. It was a lot of fun to do. I, long time ago, wrote a whole bunch of kid stories, and they're all in rhyming form, and I didn't really ever plan on doing anything with them. It was kind of a mental exercise, to put this jigsaw puzzle together of this rhyming story to make sure it all fit together. So, to make a long story short, I finished this. I started it in 2004, got stuck, finished it in 2007. Met somebody who had a company that made moving picture apps for children's books, and I signed a contract to have them do it. It was looking awesome. Then they ran out of money. So then it sat for a couple of years, and then I finally asked to be let out of my contract, and then I just did this on my own last year.
That's amazing.
Thanks. And I have another one coming out in a couple of weeks. It's called Lucy and Chester's Amazing Adventures. So it's just kind of a fun side hustle.
Well, let me tell you, I think both Steve the Alien and the new book that you have would make very nice Christmas presents. So where could people find them?
Sure. On my website, which is gbrianbenson.com, and Amazon.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So for Christmas, birthdays, anytime you have like a children's event that you need a present for, these might not be a bad idea at all.
Thank you.
And Brian, about your short films, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. The very first one that I put together was Guitar Man, and that happened very shortly after taking that initial acting class, which I had no plans on acting. I just thought it would be another tool to help me become more comfortable. And I finished the class, and a couple weeks later, I actually had a dream. And I woke up and I wrote down what came to me, and I met a young filmmaker a couple weeks after that. And I said, hey, I don't know how to make a short film, but I think this would be a great idea. You want to do it? He said, sure. So that became Guitar Man. And we filmed it on the streets of Reno, Nevada in about 2 weeks. And it was very empowering for me, because I never acted before, and I never played guitar in front of anybody before either. I was kind of a closet guitarist. And so it did well at film festivals, and it still gets views on YouTube. So it just kind of propelled me in this direction of acting, and I moved to LA 4 years ago.
Well, that's...
Accidentally.
Wow. I mean, that's quite a life change. It's very interesting. I like what your message seems to be, which is that you can pretty much change your life at any point in time.
Yeah, I happily expect the unexpected, and everything that I try to do, I try to have kind of a positive, uplifting message to it. So.
Certainly, and believe in magic.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Brian, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And friends out there, do log on to heartofhollywoodmedia.com to learn more about Brian and about other interesting people in the entertainment industry. Thank you. Bye.